the centers of power in the West so reluctant to institute laws that would help to curb provocations of this sort? The argument is freedom of expression. Let us begin by saying, and I think Muslims should say this, that freedom of expression is a very important principle. It is something we would defend, but freedom of expression must be accompanied by a sense of responsibility. You cannot separate the two. All rights must be accompanied by a sense of responsibility. So that's the point that one has to make. That rights sometimes would also require a sense of restraint. In the exercise of one's rights, you must be concerned about restraint. But equally important, I think one should make this point, that these centers of power in the West that talk about freedom of expression, they are in a sense being hypocritical. Why is it that they don't talk about curbs on freedom of expression when it comes to public discourses on the Holocaust? There are all sorts of rules in Europe. Nearly every European country has placed restrictions on the question of the Holocaust. If you question certain things, you can be hauled up in court. There are individuals who have been convicted. We know of the late Roger Garaudi, the French intellectual, was hauled up to court and had to go through this long trial because he had questioned some of the figures connected with the Holocaust. Not the Holocaust as such, but the figures. He asked, for instance, could this be true? Because if you look at the total population of Europe and the total Jewish population at that time, it's possible that 6 million died. It was just a question that he asked based upon research that he had done. Or the Austrian sociologist who asked a question about some of the ghettos, whether those ghettos actually existed in the form in which they have been presented in history. Or you remember the British historian David Irving was jailed in Austria, again for raising some questions about the Holocaust. So here you have a topic that is taboo. You cannot talk about it. So freedom of expression somehow doesn't come into the picture. But when it comes to interfaith ties and people feeling deeply hurt as a community by something which has hurt their honor, somehow you say, look, it's freedom of expression. And I think this also raises questions, Niall, about our conception of freedom. Very often what happens is this, that the centers of power in the West, they defend an individualized notion of freedom of expression, but they don't realize that freedom also must include the honor of a whole community and their right to defend that honor. That's also one of the freedoms that should be protected.